Hi guys, good evening, good morning, afternoon. I know I've seen that in this group you've got people from probably all over the world. So my name is Ganga. Thanks Simba and Tawana for having me in this group. Um, these young guys invited me to share with you some of my experience and also my views on how we can work on development in the rural areas. So I'm a 20-year veteran in the United Nations. I've been to over 45 countries in the world, mostly in the Middle East, Asia, Africa. But I've also worked in the US and UK and also in Rome. Um, so just to maybe go straight into the topic, I'm from Gurue, Mashonal in Central, a village called Nyamkondiwa or Makoshori village, which is in Upper Gurue. Just about 10 kilometers. Those who know Guru, it's about 10 kilometers from the growth point. So I'm running a piggery project, which I started over the probably the last 3 years. And believe me not, I started with only two pigs, but at the moment I'm in the excess of 120 to 130, if I'm not mistaken. So because we just slaughtered some recently, quite a lot. So I started with two pigs, but right now I have about 120 pigs in the piggery project. Being a village boy, I also at one point stayed in the village for some years, went to school there. So it has always been my passion to kind of go back. I mean, growing up, I've always been thinking that I need to do something for my people. I need to do something for my village. I remember we used to walk almost 3-4 kilometers to go to our primary school. That was in the late 80s, begin late 80s, start of 90s. So I mean, it has always been my passion that I really want to do something for my village, for my people. So what I then did, I have been looking at what are some of the problems. So mostly when I come home, I spend a lot of my time in the village, talking to the people, trying to understand what are some of their challenges, really getting myself deep into some of these issues and understanding what are their desires, what are their needs, what are things that, I mean, their what can I call them, things that they wish for to have in their lives, and what is their definition of development. So these are things that I try to get into. Yeah, so the first thing that I realized was a problem was water. I think when you look at the hierarchy of needs, water and oxygen are some of the, the highest needs. So what I realized was quite a big problem. Although there's a bore in the village, there was always problems. Several times I had to send money for them to fix it. Then I realized, no, probably I need to put water for these people, but also for my project, because pigs do need a lot of water, a lot of clean water. So finally, I decided to drill a bore. It's about 100 meters bore, and then I piped this water to the community also. I did not make it just for myself or for my project, because I realized that everyone was really struggling with water. So that was the first thing that I did, to give everyone clean water to drink, also so that they have a source of water which is reliable, which is more reliable. But also, I also thought about women who would spend a lot of time at the ball, at times even putting them at risk, because some of them, they're quite far from the ball. So sometimes they would walk at night, which is risky itself. So that's why I ended up piping and connecting the village to my ball. So now they are actually using tapped water. Uh, and you know what? It's something. It really touched me because the way they reacted. Yeah, um, I I didn't think that it was such a big deal, you know, but you could see from their responses that I had changed their lives. The way they offered me, you know, like during the last farming season, they offered like, you know what, we're going to come the whole village, come and uh, do your planting. Even they offering to do the Pumvudza hose, just organizing themselves, you know. So I then thought about it hard, you know, like when we talk about development in the rural areas or in Africa, not just in the rural area, but in Africa, uh, what is it that our people need? Because development, from what I've realized in my experience, is that it cannot be outsourced to foreigners. It cannot be outsourced to external parties. Development can only be done by the people themselves. It can only be driven because if they are the ones who share their visions, who share what they want, what they believe is development, then they are happy to actually put effort in ensuring that whatever they wish for comes to fruition. So I didn't sit down with the women. I sat down with the Sabuku. We spoke about what really is development for them. This is how I came up with this. This is an amateur. I drew this actually. This is not professionally done. This prototype that I drew, based on the ideas that these people were telling me, what are some of the problems that they face and what is it that they want. Yeah. So let me send another audio. So being an expert in development myself, over for the last 20 years, I've also been in villages. I've spent most of my time in the villages in Zimbabwe, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, in Uganda, in Somalia, then in Syria. I've been in Jordan, in Turkey, in Lebanon, and most of my time I was in the villages. So blending my experience and also looking at what listening to what my people were saying, I then came up with this prototype, and I believed it's something that they wanted. Based, I actually drew it based on it's kind of agile in the sense that it was not ideas coming from me; it was ideas coming from them. But I just put it into, sometimes when you speak with people, for them to understand, sometimes you need to animate something or to put it visually so that people can really appreciate where we are going. So I came up with this, drew it, shared with them. They were like, "Wow, this is exactly what we want." Yeah. So then, like I was saying, based on my own experiences and also being someone who is an enthusiast in everything Internet of Things, I then said, listen, maybe if we are to actually do development in Zimbabwe, especially in the rural areas, instead of just waiting for the government, why don't we do citizen driven, grassroots driven development? Which can actually leapfrog us. Not just, we don't just move to just putting what do you call it? Moving from mud houses to galvanized roof houses, and we say it's development. No, that's not development. So the problems that they have, I kind of categorize them. The first was obviously water, which we have done now, which I think we've done. Although I actually feel that we can try to mobilize some resources for another bowl, for a second bowl, because the village is quite huge. In the bowl, although it's enough, we don't have any problems at the moment, but I still feel that some of them, they are still moving kind of a long distance to still get water. Although right now it's much easier because they're just opening taps and getting water. And we can even go further, not just not just putting bores, but even piping them, putting tapes in their houses. I think this is the vision that I thought we can actually move from where we are right now. Um, so water is there now. The second one was um, nutrition. Although Zimbabwe is still one of the countries in Africa which surprisingly has not had a lot of acute malnutrition problems, or even with all the problems that we've had. But one of the problems that we still have is the problem of chronic malnutrition, where you realize that children fail to reach their full potential in terms of height for age. So nutrition, especially the lack of micronutrients, is one thing that I felt it was kind of a low hanging fruit for me, because easily connecting the clean water, I thought I could build a community garden. Yeah. So I mobilized the people and said, listen, so to solve one of your problems, in terms of you walking long distance, also to go to gardens, and also not having water for all year round gardening, let's build a community garden which you can then organize, choose who partake in the gardening activities there. It's something which is self-targeting, in fact, because we ended up having about 70 to 80 families, if I'm not mistaken, that have joined in this garden. It's quite a huge garden. It's almost a thousand 1,500 square meters. And what they've done, they self-organized. I did not organize them. They self-organized. What I did, I simply bought barbed wire for them. Then I also had my guys in the pre-guard project to get some pose for them. Yeah, so that's what I mostly provided. Then I also provided the seeds for them to start. So seeds like for what do you call it, chilies, vegetables, butternuts. They are doing butternuts. They are doing carrots. They are doing cucumbers, English cucumbers. They're also doing herbs. uh yeah, and so what they did, they self-organized. So they have gardens which are, the other section is their own individual gardens, beds. And then they've also put beds for orphans, for the elderly who are not able to do the gardening. So this is something that they self-organized. I simply provided these resources, but also they provided labor in terms of doing the wiring of the garden. It's already functional right now. Probably the first harvest will be happening in the next couple of weeks. So this I did to one, diversify their nutrition, their nutrition sources, so that they can deal with some of these micronutrient deficiencies that we see in a number of children. But also in terms of, since they are producing cash crops, it's kind of also helping them to diversify their incomes. So mostly women are the ones who have been registered for this gardening project. Like I said, it was self-targeting. So those who wanted to come and do the labor, they accepted, and those who didn't want, they obviously did not take partake. Um, yeah, so that was the second stage of looking at the nutrition side of things, food security, and nutrition side of things. Um, yeah, so the next one was now looking at, we are now looking, if you look into the in the on the model, we are now looking at, you're now going to power. Power is our big priority right now at the moment. So power, like I said, so the idea of the smart village is to, want to come up with smart water initiatives, smart nutrition initiatives, and then the next thing is smart power. So the village is not far from the grid, but looking at the reliability of the grid and also the expenses that are linked with the grid, I thought that instead of going for the grid, why don't we go for a solar microgrid? Yeah. And solar microgrid, which can then we can then have a the village being connected to the power. So it's something that I'm thinking of. How then can we fund some of these things? So look, if you go right around the village right now, you'd find every house probably has got a solar panel, solar panel, solar panel. So it's not that people cannot afford. Right now, there's a bumper harvest in the rural areas. So I'm actually thinking of having a discussion with them, like, look, instead of you when you get your harvest, you buy a solar panel. uh let's pull the resources together. Then we can one buy durable solar panels. Each household, solar panels cost $100 these days. They don't cost a lot. 365 watts, 24 volts, costs $100. So these villagers, I know that they can actually afford to get $100, because especially with the harvest that they have right now, you'll be surprised how much money moves around in the village. It's only that people don't bring it out. So if each household can buy a solar panel, so I calculated for this village to power up about 70 households, we need 40 to 50 kVA. And I did the calculations of the solar panels. It will run to probably about about what? I can't remember the number of the solar panels, but I've already done a full proposal, business case for this initiative. So I was just thinking, like, if we cannot get a donor, or the government to support us, what we can do is we can then say each household can buy their own solar panel, yeah. And then these solar panels, instead of putting on your household, let's pull them together. Let's put a solar microgrid. Then we can obviously try to find some money for the batteries, yeah, for the lithium batteries, which have got a higher, I mean, a longer life expectancy. Then we put a solar grid, a micro solar grid that then powers the village. Yeah, obviously, some of the houses that are closer to the microgrid probably will get powered up. But at least, even those that are not closer to the microgrid, they can still come and charge their phones. They can charge their solar lights the whole day. Something like that. Yeah, so I've actually done a costing of most of these activities, which I'll try to share at the end. So for me, if we can do this, then we now have smart power. Yeah, that's the because wherever there is power, you also start getting other services, like shops. They would open up. Also, even businesses would start be interested, yeah, to come in. But you can also start having even other things like an internet cafe. So that's one thing that I also thought about having an internet cafe, which we can connect to, like Dandem Tande VSAT. I've already done a quotation from Dandem Tande. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's about $300, I think, 300 US dollars to set up the whole thing, and then you pay about like $10-15 every month. I can't remember the real price. So yeah, now you have a smart power, but also smart connectivity of the village, where the local schools can also come and use the internet cafe. I'm even thinking of setting up one place in this service center that you see on the diagram. Yeah, I'm even thinking of setting up a robotics and engineering kind of place where children can be taught. So this is also one of my interests. I actually have a school called the International Institute of Junior Coders and Engineers, which is registered in Zimbabwe and South Africa. We have trained over 500 5-year-olds to 16-year-olds in Zimbabwe and South Africa. So it's something that I also want to bring into the village, so that you can start introducing them to some of these things that that are all over the world, that we now have, even I mean in the big cities, but they've not heard about them. Yeah, so it's just trying to also to get the talent and also to bring their education to the 21st century. So I already have invested in some of these things. And I'm actually happy to set it up in the village, as long as I've done the buildings and stuff. Yeah, so that's the side of internet and power of it. Then the next one was the crash. So they told me, I mean, it's something that I've seen in most of the, it's very sad in most of the rural areas in Zimbabwe. Children, they are not going to kindergarten. There's nothing like that. Grade zero, even I'm told primary schools, they are refusing now, because they just don't have the capacity to do grade zero. So it's something that I also spoke with the village and the neighboring villages, and we said, why don't we put a kindergarten in in this area as well? Kindergarten doesn't cost much, guys. It's putting a mzerere, putting a mtserendende in the building, and then having teachers. And I already have a bunch of books that I've sourced that can be used for that. But also, even when I was talking to them, they were like, you know what, we actually have got people who can be teachers in this kindergarten. So they start getting taught some of the skills that they need to learn at ECDB. Yeah, so I realized that this can actually benefit not only my village, but even the villages that are nearby. Yeah, so that's the other version of this smart village. So some of these kids also, we start introducing them to computers. We start introducing them to things like iPads, tablets, that they can start. They can also not be left out in terms of the 21st century skills, the fourth industrial revolution that we all talk about. Yeah, you find out there are many smart kids there in the rural areas that are just not getting these services. Yeah. So next one in terms of agriculture, I think also trying to answer the questions that Simba and Taona put up in the list there. So in terms of smart agriculture, one of the things that I'm also planning for this initiative is to have a smart drone. To have drones, in fact, quite a few, but the special agricultural drones, for monitoring crops, monitoring disease in the crops, but also for spraying. I've realized that, I mean, I spend a lot of time during the last planting season. I spend a lot of time in my raw area, and I did a lot of farming there. And I was carrying the pump, the spray pump, the, what do you call it? The spray pump, that the one that you carry, or like a backpack, the knapsack. Yeah, I was carrying the knapsack. It's quite heavy. It's so inefficient. Yeah, I know that there are some these days that have got batteries or use solar that they'll be spraying on their own, but no, it will take so like to spray 1 hectare. You need three people. It can take you about over an hour to spray 1 hectare. If you are three people, probably moving fast, you can actually use a drone, an agricultural drone, a spray drone, and you can do that in less than 15 minutes. So this is something that I'm also trying to introduce to the village, so that they can also do this smart monitoring of their crops. So some of the farmland is about 3-4 kilometers away from the village. So instead of you walking all the way you can even send a drone to just go and check, and you'll be using your smartphone to look at, yeah, it's at the condition of the crop. So the smart drone can be used. So these days, I don't know, most of you probably know that there are a lot of liquid fertilizers on the market, and I've used them, and I tell you, they are quite efficient, and even probably much better than this ammonium nitrate that we use a lot. So if you can spray, I mean, pesticides, if you can spray, what do you call it, if you can spray herbicides, you can also spray fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, using this drone. So this is more efficient. And imagine if you can do it, if you can do 180 in less than 15 minutes, it means that you can actually cover quite a lot, the whole village, in a few days. So this is something that I'm also working on introduce. It's part of the whole idea of smart agriculture. Then on the same service center, we are thinking of setting up a micro weather monitoring facility, where instead of the farmers, the villagers, just guessing how much, so what happened in November last year, because I didn't have many days of leave from work, so I was trying to ensure that I'm there when we're doing the planting and all that. So I really waited. I knew it was raining, but then the Dumeni tells you that no, it's not. The rain is not yet ready for you guys to do the planting. Then I realized that that's actually a weakness, because the Dumeni was actually basing it on I don't think what do you call it, his monitoring center still works, so it's just basing it on information that he gets from kind of average of the district, yeah. But now if we have our own micro weather center, yeah, meteorology center, then we can even measure our own rainfall, so that we can, instead of us doing guesswork, we actually know that, listen, we had 50 mils of rainfall yesterday, so we are good to go. Let's not listen to what Mudumeni is saying. I mean, it's fine. It's not like I'm not saying we should not listen to Mudumeni's, yeah, but I'm realizing Mudumeni's are still using old technology, or they're still just waiting to hear from the Central Meteorological Center, where they tell that what is the average of the district. That is not efficient. Instead of having a localized weather station where you can just do your own thing. So that's one thing that we are also working on that. Then, yeah, one of the challenges in Guru, the massive challenge, has been deforestation. Deforestation, yeah, the forests have been decimated for so many reasons. Tobacco being one of the major reasons, but also for so many years, people have been just cutting trees without replacing them. It's a campaign that I'm actually involved heavily in Zimbabwe, the whole of Zimbabwe, not only in Gurue, but over the last 2 years, I've planted more than 1,000 trees. I make sure every year I plant at least 500 trees myself. So I also talked to them about this. What can we do? So we have been working with some people in Harare that have been helping us, donating trees to us. So we are trying to set up our own nursery, and also teaching them how to propagate some of the what do you call it, the indigenous trees that you still find in the farms, and then we can kind of try to do a reforestation project. So this is also part of the climate resilience kind of initiative that food security initiative that I'm trying to also culture back in the people. So I'm trying to culture it. It used to be there, but for some reason we have lost this kind of thinking, where people just cut trees without replacing them. So yeah, it's something that I'm working with them on that. So linked to that, the one of the challenges that they have is the issue of cooking, obviously cooking fuel. So this is why they've been cutting trees. So what I've decided for this project is also to put a biogas that will be linked to the to my piggery, but also even to their own cattle wastes, and other waste, and other household waste, kitchen waste, that we can also pump into this biogas. So the biogas, that one, we can then easily pipe it to each household, so that they can use gas for cooking. Instead of them cutting trees, now they'll be using gas. So this I realized that it's much easier. It's much easier. It's much cheaper than them powering, let's say, cooking stoves to the solar grid. That will probably not work for us. But biogas is actually an alternative, and having 100 pigs, we can have the potential to actually make them 500 over the next 2 years. It means we have a massive production of pig waste, but also getting the other waste from their cattle. It's something that we are also looking at. Yeah, so then the last, I don't know if I've mentioned all of these, but the last one is the transport. So it's very frustrating for most rural areas. Transport, I don't know, most of you guys, if you go to the rural areas, if you don't have a car, try to go to, if your growth point, let's say it's far from a village, try to go to the growth point. You can go in the morning, you're only able to come back at night, uh, because the whole day there's no transport. Yeah, there's no transport. So it's for me. Let me tell you, I've been in Asia. Like I said, I've been in Asia. I've been in Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya. Some of these developing. I mean, kind of developing, how do I say, not just developing, but countries that have had massive development over the last decade or 2 decades. One thing that I've noticed in these countries is these three wheelers. I know people who have been to Uganda, the tuk-tuk, the bajaj in Ethiopia, the what do you call them? What do they call them in India? I can't remember the name in India, but it's the same. It's the three wheelers, yeah. Now they're electric three wheelers, even that are even able to carry 6, 7 people. Three wheelers. I think Econet, I'm told, is actually he has got some of these three wheelers in Harare. In Harare, I think they've been trying to replace him Shika Shika using these three wheelers. So it's not a new thing. It's something which is proven to work in many countries. But I'm told Vaya has been introducing these to Harare. These we need them in the rural areas. Trust me. So these three wheelers, the plan for this model is to go for the electric ones, because we want to avoid issues of petrol, diesel, whatever. Also trying to be smart in a way. So these three wheelers can then be used as a source of transport to move between villages, or between the village or the clinic or the hospital or the growth point. Um, so now when the let's say the farmers that are growing crops in the garden, when they want to go and sell, let's say their lettuce, or their herbs, they want to go and sell it or even send it to Harare quickly, because it has to remain fresh. So they need transport to move to the growth point. Yeah. So this is why I came up with this idea of having some three wheelers that can move people, but also some of their produce to the growth point for selling or for onward movement to Harare, because this I see it as a gap. It's really inconveniencing. You see a lot of people, they go to the growth point with the plan of coming back quickly, so that they go and do their work. But this is not happening. You spend the whole day, because there's no transport to bring you back. So this is something that I also felt like, from what I've seen in other countries, is that there is massive movement. Yeah, massive. When you see it, I mean, my gauge of an economy that is running has been that people are able to move. You see people moving around, moving up and down, moving up and down. Yeah, Ethiopia is one such country. Right now, I'm actually talking to you guys. I'm deep in the field in Ethiopia, in a place bordering Somalia, very remote area. But one thing that I can tell you is there are thousands of these three wheelers. Yeah, the economy here is moving. It's a small town, but the economy is moving. Banks are moving. Yeah, I mean, banks are open until late because something is happening. It tells you something is happening. I mean, I mean, according to the standards of Ethiopia, it's actually a small town. But I tell you, when I look at it, it's probably bigger than my own growth point in Guru. And if you look at the hive of activity which is happening, it's quite massive. That's a local economy that is happening. That is grinding every day. And this is why I feel, for me, a measure of a working economy is when you see people moving, when you see people moving up and down, commerce is happening, exchange of money is happening. That's what we need to have in this village setup. So so just to also mention that this idea of this village, I didn't thought about it as a is kind of a model, yeah, open source model. I have nothing to hide. I'm not trying to get what do you call it, to patent this, yeah. No, this is open source. I thought it as a model that I'm working on, that then we can then go to the government and say, listen, if you really want to do development in Zimbabwe in the rural areas, this is how you need to go about it. People have to be the center of the ideas of what they want, what they call development. Yeah. And let's make it smart. So when they get the ideas, our role is probably to facilitate it and make it smart and make it more modern. Yeah. So not, instead of just thinking that connecting people to ZESA is the way that is probably going to take us many years. Look how many years it has taken us already when we've been talking about rural electrification. It's probably not going to happen in the next 5-10 years again. Let's forget about it. Let's now have these citizen driven initiatives that we can get the people to own the whole process. Like I said, for solar panels, the solar panels that they are buying in each household, let's bring them together instead of them thinking, not thinking about the bigger picture. Yeah? Let them understand that having these solar panels together can actually produce more electricity for them than having an individual electricity. So yeah, let me send another audio on the plans of buildings, yeah, that you see in the prototype. Yeah, so then also looking at structures, I think some of you who know Rwanda, I think you've seen Rwanda, even South Africa. If you go to rural areas in South Africa, you don't see all these mud houses that we have in our villages. Nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, I thought, listen, um, if we have started this thing of bringing the community together, why don't we also bring the community together to make some bricks? I think, in most villages we make these farm bricks. And I thought, I've realized every year in my village, people tell you that, oh, I'm selling, I've got 1,000 or 5,000 bricks that I'm selling. And I actually buy from them some of these bricks too for my own project. So I thought, each family is making 1,000, 5,000 bricks. Yeah, why don't we pull these why don't we put this brick making together, so I did my calculations, to actually build modern houses, let's say 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom houses, in the village for each household. uh, my calculations, if there, I'm not a civil engineer, but my calculations, I calculated that we need about up to 1,000,000, 500,000 to 1,000,000 bricks for most of the households of, let's say, I'm looking at about 50 households. Yeah, if that is correct, 50 to 80 households, in fact. So I looked at about, yeah, 500,000 to, it's somewhere there, and then I'm also trying to look at the potential based on what the villages are already doing. I thought, like, okay, why don't we then pull up together, just also for the service center, for the creche, for the service center, for the clinic. So the clinic is also part of one that I did not mention, by the way. Sorry, let me actually mention the clinic. So the clinic, the health center, it's not really a clinic, it's a primary health center, which will be kind of linked to the clinic. So there in this clinic, people can have their blood pressure. Some of the old people in the village can have their blood pressure tested, malaria tested. At the moment, village heads are actually doing malaria tests in most of the villages in Zimbabwe. I didn't know this. I only got to know recently. But now this can be done by healthcare volunteers at this health center, at this primary health care center. Yeah. Blood what do you call it, malaria tests. You can have sugar tests, you can have high blood pressure tests. You can have people can also get some of these what do you call it, some of these medications that are over the counter medications. Yeah, and then also family planning tablets. They can also be taken from here. Also children, prenatal, postnatal care can be done at this place. Also children weighing, the mother health, whatever, the child health days can also be done at this place. Nutrition feeding can be done at this place. So this is one linkage to that. So that also need to be built. So this is why I'm saying, I thought about bringing all the villagers to then to do this 500,000 to a million bricks. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but let me tell you, from what I've done, the calculations that I've done, I think it's actually more doable than each household making their own bricks every year, you know. But if they can do it as a community, they are able to produce more bricks in a shorter time than each household doing their own thing. So what I've done, I've also been working with some welders in Harare to come up with some simple brick making machines that can produce, instead of having this two or four six whatever, what do you call this, the what do you call it in English, the foroma thing that they use, the template thing that they use, yeah, the brick making template. We have made one that can actually produce 48 bricks in one go. I know Hydraform also produces some of these machines, but at the moment we are not on a strict budget, so most of this money comes from me. So this is why we are making our own simple machines that can then make the life more easier. Yeah. So the 48 brick maker, and also blocks. We also have block making templates that we have. We can then be able to produce more bricks in a shorter time than what they are normally able to do, and also by having them working together, then the labor also makes it much easier, because everyone is going to benefit. Everyone is going to get a four roomed, at least four roomed house that we can build from that. Yeah. So and then also some of the bricks for the creche, for the health center, for the internet cafe, yeah, for the what do you call it, for the vocational training place that we also need to put there. Yeah. So this is all something that I thought it can actually be community driven. Yeah. So even it's not like I'm also not looking for funds. I've actually written proposal that I've shared with donors, um, uh, shared with some innovation funds. I've shared with the what do you call it, the empowerment bank, the women empowerment bank. I still haven't received response, but I'm just hoping might get response. So we are not waiting to get funds from externals. Yeah, we are still gonna do it brick by brick every day, working with the people, do what we can do. If we get those who want to join us to do it, then I mean, good enough. We can also do that. But something which is community driven, guys, it's more sustainable, because there is also community ownership in terms of ensuring that the assets are not destroyed. They're all taken care of, because they know that they've put their blood and sweat in that. So they'll be able to protect by every means that they can do. Yeah, so in terms of funding, just answering some of the questions that are asked in the list. In terms of funding, like I said, so one, we have to ensure that you involve the community themselves, yeah. But also, let's also look at crowdsourcing. So this is another platform that we can use to fund some of these projects. I'm actually trying to work with some Guruve group on Facebook to so this group has got 11,000 people. So I've been selling them this idea that, listen, if really these 11,000 people are here and active, let's say we donate $1 each. Yeah, we donate $1 each. That's $11,000. $11,000 is enough to set about three balls in so we can have each village, three villages are already covered. $11,000, three villages are $1. So look at $1. It's not a high risk to you as a person, yeah. Dollar means nothing because most of you are buying your girlfriend's airtime, or your boyfriend's airtime of, let's say, $10. So $1, imagine if you can donate $1 to such a cause, yeah. Just $1. You don't have to donate a lot. So I'm hoping it's something that I've been trying to sell. I know Zimbabweans, it's always quite difficult to to get to bring Zimbabweans together. There's a lot of mistrust, but think of it. $1 is not a high risk, guys. We buy iPhones, $1,300 an iPhone. It's probably a huge risk for you than just donating $1, because you can donate $1 and look aside. So if we can do the crowdfunding, yeah, with $11,000, we can have three bows, three villages covered. I'm trying to look at Guru. I can't remember really how many villages there are in Guru. It can be done. It's doable. It's only that we need to really inspire people, uh, and show people that this can be done. So I always share this model on many platforms, trying to inspire people. Like I said, open source. Anyone can copy this. Yeah, you don't have to say that you copied from me. I don't really mind, because for me it's for our people. It's the development can only be done by us. So um, imagine if we can do that, $11,000, or even 10,000, three balls in each village. We can actually do have balls in piping everything in Guruwe in less than a year. It can be done. People in diaspora, I know there are a lot of people in diaspora who want to do things for their communities, but they're afraid. They're always afraid of risk. Like, okay, what if the money ends up in politician hands and what. Guys, we can't wait. Yeah, we cannot wait for forever to develop our own places. So listen, I need to mention this. There's a massive, or silent but massive, urban to rural migration happening right now. People moving back to the rural areas because they've realized that agriculture is happening there. And also with this COVID, a lot of people really suffered, so they're going back to the villages. So I have a feeling that, with these people moving back to the villages, land will start being sold. I think you've seen a lot of land being sold. It will start becoming expensive. People move to the villages. It will also put a lot of pressure. So this is why I feel like we need to do this. We need to come up with these models so fast. If we can, so at least my point for me was, I'm trying to finish up this model, and then uh, provide the cost for anyone who wants to follow it, so that they understand what are the pitfalls, what are the opportunities, but what are the costs also for such kind of a project, so that if you want to mobilize it in your village, then you can also do that. I'm told, I've not been to Cholocho in a long time. I've been there before, but I've not been there in a long time. But I'm told a lot of things are happening in Matebeleland, especially in Cholocho, with the diaspora doing a lot in their villages. Yeah, building nice houses. But always, like I'm saying, my point is, let's always think about the bigger picture. Don't think things as an individual. Yeah, like, okay, let me just build a big house for my mother and my father, and boom, you're done. Or put a bow in my community, in my, what do you call it, in your parents' compound, and then boom, you're done. You cannot do that. So one of the fears that people were saying was that witchcraft. The reason why we don't do these things is because of is because of witchcraft and no, the reason yauri is because you are building something when everyone else doesn't have anything. So see the bigger picture. When you put a bow, an 80 meters bow, yeah, with a 5,000 liter water tank, you are able to, the whole village is able to use that water for drinking. Why do you have to monopolize it? So these are things that we need to think about, yeah. And ensure that when you do these things, I know a lot of people who have, with their monies, are able to do these things. It doesn't cost a lot, guys. And if we really want to develop, uh, real development, it has to come from us, yeah. So yeah, this is the whole idea of our development, guys, that I wanted to share with you today. But if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer some of the questions. So my experience, like I've told you guys, there is no one coming to fix Zimbabwe. There is no one coming to fix our own, especially the rural areas. And we talk about rural areas, people don't have information. It's because we are not investing in those rural areas. Let's invest in those rural areas ourselves. Let's mobilize our people. Let's inspire our people so that we can actually move from one point, from the stagnation that we have seen in the rural areas, yeah. So that they're not left out. So it can be done. I'm doing it. I've been putting my own money in this project. I'm not a rich person. Most people might think that, oh, I've got the money. No, I don't have the money. I don't have a farm. I'm actually farming. What I'm doing, I'm farming. I look for fallow land in the rural areas. A lot of people have left the villages. They're either in South Africa, or they're in Harare. So yeah, so in terms of funding, just answering some of the questions that are asked in the list. In terms of funding, like, yeah, so I look for these places where people are not using, and then I just do my farming there. So yeah, most of my feed for the bigger project, I'm actually producing it myself. In fact, I've started this last season to produce myself. So yeah, I just go around looking for places where people are not farming, and I do the farm. I rent it from them, then I do my own farming. So my project, I'm actually employing around almost 20 people right now on my project. And the garden already, it's benefiting over 100 families. No, 50 to 80, about 80 families, in fact, yeah, if I look at the last number, yeah. So it's about 80 families that are benefiting from this project. So yeah, it's, for me, the only way is community driven, citizen driven initiatives. I think they are more sustainable. Having worked for 20 years for international organizations, I can tell you without any doubt that there's nothing sustainable about international development. There's nothing. What can I say? The initiative for international development is just short term. It's not to fix our long term problems. Long term problem can only be fixed by the people of the country. Yeah? Yeah, so, and also there's a lot of donor fatigue happening right now because of COVID, but also because donors are just tired, of giving money to countries. But in the first place, the whole donor concept, it does not, trust me, yeah. I've been there for the last 20 years. I can promise you, it does not solve your problems. What do you call it? It does not solve your entire problems. Yeah, it's just there to also push for donor interests, to ensure that they are also telling their own people that they are sending money to Africa. Yeah, but the reality of it is that we cannot count on donors to be the ones that will solve our problems. The people have to be involved. I remember growing up in the 80s. In fact, going to school in the 90s. We actually used to build our own we actually used to build our own schools. I don't know. Yeah, some of the youth they might not know, but if you went to schools in the rural areas, most of you remember that the government would only provide cement, but the bricks were made by the parents. Yeah, the school children were supposed to go and pick the bricks, carry the bricks, and carry the water and carry the sand. Yeah, I remember grade 3, grade 4. We used to do that, and we built our schools. We built our toilets in the, our school toilets. We built our clinics. We built our, this, what do you call it? The water centers at the bores. All that was done through community work, and it's something that we've lost. That spirit we've lost, and it's something that with this project, for me, I'm trying to bring back that spirit in the community. Yeah? So that even right now, we have one of our schools in that village, a primary school. I was told that they actually had to close because they didn't have water. The bore is not working, and the bore needed about $300. The community do not want to. They did not want to contribute even just $1, to pay for that. But then it's also an issue of leadership. So the question on politicians, how can politicians then help to help in development? Politicians can help in inspiring people. It's about inspiring people. Leadership is always about inspiring people. Leadership is about being servants to the people, understanding their needs, and ensure that you inspire them to actually develop them. That's to develop themselves. So for me, that's where politicians really come in. I think our politicians, unfortunately, the parliament doesn't give a lot of money to what do you call it, to these MPs. I think they get only 50,000. I don't know how much they're getting right now, but it's not a lot of money. But politicians can still inspire their own people to write their own proposals. A lot of donors these days are interested in these community generated initiatives. So as a politician, you can probably just help people to write proposals, to link them up with donors, link them up with embassies, so that they can get, let's say, funding for some of their community driven initiatives. Yeah, so community driven, donors really these days, they love communities that say, oh, we are going to contribute so much, yeah, to this project. So we don't need 100% from you. We need, let's say, 60%. The 40% we're going to contribute. We're going to do our own bricks. We only want cement from you. We only want solar panels from you, but the rest we are going to do it. When you do that, donors are quite happy to support, especially if you look at the Japanese, if you look at the Swedish, the Danish, these Scandinavian donors. That's what they prefer more than than a project that needs to be fully funded. If you come up with an idea, put your own effort. Let the community own it. Yeah, let's say the community says we are going to produce 40,000 bricks. What we want is cement from a donor. The donor is happy to come and support that. So for me, that's where politicians can really come in to say, listen, I'm going to link you up with donors. I'm going to help you to write proposals. I'm also going to inspire you, work with you to do these things, to do the bricks, to fetch the water, to fetch the cement. This is what I feel politicians are supposed to do myself. Yeah, instead of us also just waiting for politicians to do things for us. They can be inspired. They can be the ones that inspire people to do things. Yeah, Simba. I don't know, Tawan. I think I've, I think I've answered. I speak so passionately about this, so sometimes I overspeak. Yeah, I probably, yeah, but yeah, I'm happy to get any questions people have got. I can try to answer some of the questions that people are asking. Yeah, so just to say that yeah, for those from the villages like some of us, you'll be surprised that if you are in network with some of your let's say people in the towns or in the diaspora and all, there's actually no need for each house to have a bowl, so you can pull resources together. Instead of each person who is in diaspora raising it $3,000 to put a bowl and piping. You can actually just Get 3 4 people in your village, yeah? Put one bowl, connect everyone, or put 2 bowls, connect everyone. So that's the other way of doing it, yeah. Like for each village. So imagine if we can do it for each one of us. I see this is a group with a big number of people, yeah? Each one of us, if you can mobilize 1 or 2 people to yeah, to get to do bowls, it will be much cheaper. Yeah, Simba. Yeah, on rural tourism, you are very right. That's another great opportunity, which is actually very much lacking. In terms of people are not seeing a lot of opportunities there. There's massive opportunities in terms of rural tourism. Right now, if you go to most of rural areas, you will not find lodges. Yeah, you will not find places to sleep. If you I know a lot of my colleagues still working in Zimbabwe. They travel a lot to the rural areas. Like let's say to Gurue, they go to Gurue. They have a project that they are monitoring in Gurue. They have to travel all the way back to Mvuru or to Mazoe for them to get overnight. To sleep, which is very very sad. So it's actually a potential. What can I say? It has got huge potential. In fact, it's not being fully exploited. A lot of things to see in Gurue. Like in Gurue, if you look at Gurue, those who know Gurue and Vurwi, there are a lot of mountains there. When I drive there all the time, I see a lot of these rocky mountains that can be used for things like rock climbing, mountain climbing, or hiking. And then you can put zip lines. You can actually work on zip lines. Like if you go to Magolis in Chitungwiza there, on the Chitungwiza road. You can put a zip line. You can get people to come for weekends. Guru is not very far from Harare, from Bindura. So you can also put things like that. I've seen 6 or 7 mountains in that area that I'm like, wow, why are we not doing anything there? Then you look at Mutorashanga, Kwaripu. Go there. I think some of you have gone there. Totally underutilized, not being exploited at all. Now some people who go there, they do their bride, they leave a lot of rubbish there because no one is controlling it. No one is fully exploiting that place. It could be fenced nicely, controlled. They do control tourism. You can put some speedboats for just what do you call it, for fun and what activities that can be done. Then you can also put chalets, gazebo, lodges around the place, totally underutilized. So it has massive potential, and you can easily work with the locals as well. Let's say you build like we manage in this project of ours. We are thinking that if we manage to build these four room 5 room houses, then we can also have some of them even put on Airbnb. Airbnb, like people can see them on Airbnb, and they can actually rent them out whenever there are people who are around the area. So yeah, there we also have a massive potential. It's not being fully exploited in Zimbabwe right now. A lot of people struggle in terms of accommodation. That's why people are not doing a lot in terms of rural tourism. So if you come to Guru, there are these groups that do arts, like this what do you call it, the rock, the stone art. Yeah, there are a lot of them. Some of them even are international artists. They are known worldwide. But yeah, the roads are bad. There's nowhere to sleep. So people who come, they normally come and quickly want to go back. So this is money that should be running around in the raw economy, but it's not. It's not because of people don't have anywhere to sleep. Yeah, so for our project, also what we are planning to do, so for my piggery project, in fact, and when we have set up this community service center, we also plan to bring in artists, like musicians, some of these underrepresented musicians, to that I know people love them, in the Sungura musicians, yeah, in the rural areas. Then we bring them. They can also work with our youth there to kind of teach them this the music industry. We try to get a talent. We are also thinking of putting a studio there. I actually have got the studio equipment already, so also putting a studio equipment there that we can then tap some of this potential that is there in the rural areas. That we have a lot of people who can do this traditional vanorova ngoma kwete zvekutamba, ngoma mbira what, but they're just not, they're not they are not exposed, they're not being exposed, but there's massive talent. I'll actually try to send you one. Let me see if I have one. I'll try to send you one. Massive talent in the rural areas. Guru is actually known, Guru, it's a very, very sacred place in terms of the mondoros and what. So there's some people who still practice this, and vanonoridza ngoma dzaitonzi dzinonaisa mvura and stuff. And that's part of our culture that we also need to showcase to the outside world, but also even to the urban, to the local tourists. People could come from Blawa and see how we do it in Mashonaland and Central, and also learn from that. So that's also part of my initiative. I'm trying to look into that as well.